Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. This post is from the subreddit Relationships and it's by user JustSomeGuy618. My girlfriend, 27 female of 4 years, cheated on me, 32 male, with my cousin. How do I get over that? This is my first post and I thought this might help me at least get some different perspectives on what's happened to me. I'm sorry if my thoughts are a bit unorganized. My girlfriend and I have been dating for 4 years, some of it long distance. And then I uprooted myself and moved closer to her. She lived in a different state. Things were seemingly going great and I started even looking for a ring and even a house. I'd never felt a connection with a person so strong before. About 2 months ago, my girlfriend and I went to my sister's wedding and had a grand time. We connected or reconnected with a lot of families and it was a fun weekend. I even got to catch up with my cousin, who is like a little brother to me, and was excited to hear he was looking to move to a city near me. Fast forward 2 weeks and I began to notice his name coming up in texts on her phone and she would disappear for long periods of time. One day, she went to send a text to someone and I saw his name on the screen with the words, "I miss you," which was sent by her. It hit me like a truck and I'm still trying to get over the emotions I felt from that day. I'm skimming over details, but she tried to explain how it was innocent at first and turned into a real connection that she couldn't put down. She started fantasizing about a life with him, but still loved me and was just confused. For a while, they both lied to me to cover their tracks. I sensed that she was telling him very personal things about my relationship with her, and they continued to plot how to keep in contact despite me still being around. I moved out of state again to get away from the situation. I didn't have a real support system there because I had just moved there for her. My trust was obviously shattered and I had anxiety problems whenever her phone would make the same sound. She seemed like such a different person after I found out and felt so cold towards me. I know they're still in contact. I can't get over the feelings of betrayal, not only by her, but by my cousin as well. On top of that, the feeling that she'd come to her senses and snap out of it still got to me too. I checked my phone constantly to see if she'd call or text and look through my emails every day. Nothing. I looked through her social media profiles and she seems happy while I'm here like this. I don't know why I keep doing this to myself because I thought I really knew her and I'm still hoping that person would come back to me. I thought working out, traveling, finding new hobbies and such would help me, and it does distract me for some time, but the thought of all of this situation always seems to creep back in and ruin me again. I don't know what to do. How do I get over this? How do I trust again? We haven't officially killed it. I know I should have long ago. I know I deserve better. Why can't I let it go? Well, OP, in my humble opinion, I think that you can't let it go because you still have some remnants of an idea that this could go back to how it was. Now, logically, you know it can't. Logically, you know that this is just dead. But emotionally, well, you're still kinda hooked. And unfortunately, until you get the point of acceptance that this relationship is absolutely over because you were dating a horrible person, well, then you're gonna keep feeling like this, and no matter the amount of hobbies or activities that you do to distract yourself, the fact remains the problem's still there and you haven't really worked on it. You haven't gotten through your emotional trauma. And I would think that a really good place to start would be by breaking it off. Like you said, you haven't officially killed it. Well, officially kill it. Now, if you know what you have to do, if you know that you deserve better, well then work towards it. Now, if you by yourself can't work on it, that's absolutely fine and actually pretty normal. Well then you can ask for help. Do you have a support network like friends, family? Maybe a therapist can actually guide you to get to the acceptance point that this relationship is over so you can move on with your life. So to summarize, OP, you're really not going to be able to let this go unless you work on letting it go, and you should start by ending that relationship. Also, your cousin sucks and you should cut him off too. And what do you guys think about this situation? What would you do if you were in OP's shoes? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what they said. Ronblade1214 says, "You don't have to get over it, you know. You have no obligation to forgive either of them. Some very strong couples can get over infidelity if it was just a one-time thing, but it sounds like you've tried and you simply just can't get over it, and that's okay. Your cousin and your girlfriend are both huge breakers of your trust. I personally wouldn't be able to forgive either of them. Can you imagine the rest of your life with this nagging suspicion clawing at the back of your head? You're in love with who she used to be, or more accurately, who you thought she was, not who she really is. And OP responds, I verbally said I forgave her, but deep down I don't think I really have, and she knows it too. I think that's the main reason why I should give up on this and end it, because of that suspicion. Yes, I believed that I really loved someone that I thought I knew or who she used to be. It scares me to think of her now as this person who is capable of doing this. It really breaks my heart to see her this way. Champion Kiwi says, it's hard to let go because you changed your entire life for this girl, OP. You have to end things. This is a disgusting level of infidelity. Cut contact completely with both parties. Your cousin will be around forever, so you can always rekindle that relationship if you ever so choose. But I wouldn't. End it, end it, end it. And OP responds, I easily cut contact with my cousin. He left me voicemails of half apologies and more lies. With her, it's so hard to cut that contact. She still asks me if I'm doing alright. Her family does the same. They don't know she cheated, just that I left. I really wish I had some closure, but I don't know how to achieve it. Miss Argentina 20 says, I am sorry that you're going through a rough time. She emotionally cheated on you and that is horrible. The best thing you can do is grieve for the relationship. It's fine to be sad for a little bit, but you can't spend all of your time focusing on what went wrong or what could have happened. Go no contact, block her on all social media, delete her from your phone. Make a list of what she did and keep it on your phone. When you start to miss her or focus on the happy memories, remind yourself the justifiable reasons why you broke up with her. Let yourself heal. When you feel ready, not when other people say so, get back into dating again. Don't let this bad moment taint future relationships. Remind yourself the new girl is not your ex. Give them a fair shot with you because you deserve better. You are a great guy. There is someone out there that is perfect for you. Use this as a lesson of traits that are not acceptable in a relationship. You will recover and be okay. And OP responds, thank you. I'm trying to go no contact. I think the finality of deleting her from social media scares me because I'm a hopeful person, but I really should do this. Keeping a list of what she did might be a good first step though. Additional information from OP's comments. They met at a wedding and were just texting as far as I know after that weekend. When I was trying to deal with this with her, she was very adamant about how her parents could never know about this. The more I think about this, the more I feel like she would only deal with the correct consequences by facing the truth with them. It would be horrible for her, yes, but nothing to the extent of what she did to me. I don't feel the need to tell them unless they ask though. Also, I moved back to my home state and to my parents' house and told them everything. It also happens to be the state my cousin lives in, so it's been tricky to keep out of the way. I really don't know what the fallout would be like if my dad's brother found out that his son did this to me. Part of me wants some consequences for my cousin, but I don't know what it could really even be. I guess I'm just frustrated at myself that no matter how much I try to do these things to keep myself busy, I seem to sink back to where I was. I know it'll take time, and yes, I think I'd feel a lot better punching him in the face. I'm not completely over the anger stage, but I know that's not an option. I wish I had more patience so I wouldn't be so frustrated at myself for not being able to move on so readily. But the thing is that I was protecting her because I still felt that love for her. As the days go by, I feel it dwindling slowly and I start thinking these actions need consequences and the truth coming out is that consequence. OP's short-term update. She texted me the other night asking me to come pick up my stuff. I was gonna text her to ask the same anyway. I'm going to go with my dad next weekend to get everything. I really am not interested in seeing her at all. In the text, she said she thought a lot about us and just doesn't think it'll ever be the same. I said matter-of-factly that it won't. I left it at that, but I probably should have been more clear that it's over. I deleted all the photos and videos of her from my phone. I've removed everything about her from my social media profiles, short of unfriending her. I should. I feel like I'm making good progress though. Anyways, I guess I'm just mentally preparing myself for the talk I'm going to have with her parents. They need to know I wasn't the one that effed up. Also, my uncle, my cousin's dad, is visiting my parents' home this weekend. I'm going to tell him everything. I had a visit with a therapist earlier this week, and she told me that I carry a lot of false responsibility for people that I shouldn't be protecting, because I'm still holding on to the relationships I thought I had with both of them. I just have to keep thinking of those two words, false responsibility. Man, I hope I can hold it together. I see some other silver lining in this. As a stipulation for moving to a different state, I was able to keep my job and work remotely from my girlfriend's city. Now that I am free of her, I can actually work wherever I want. I can travel, even live wherever. This excites me. Probably not as much as it should, but my eyes are slowly opening. You've all been really helpful in that, Reddit. Alright, well, we're definitely going in the right direction here. After all of the comments from the community, apparently OP was really open to what they were saying and has started to make changes regarding how he feels and what he does. So now let's move on to the final update to see how this story ends, but of course before that, here's another one of my playlists for you to enjoy after this video. Now let's move on with that update. I'm doing a lot better these days, 2 months after the incident. A lot of you suggested that I go get my stuff immediately, and I did that about a month ago. It was a cathartic drive from Florida to Texas with my dad. I had made up my mind that if I did see her during the process of retrieving my things, I would not acknowledge her in any way, and that's what happened for the most part. She did hand me a letter to read, and I didn't for a few weeks, until I was sure nothing in it could affect me. It didn't. She said that she cherished the time we had together and that we were going in opposite directions, but that she always had a place for me in her heart. Yeah, whatever. She's the worst. I remind myself of that every time. Anyway, back to picking up my things. I was annoyed actually. She texted me beforehand saying she was working that day, so I was relieved that I wouldn't see her. But the morning I was arriving, she sent me another text that she wasn't feeling well and would be there. Looking back though, I'm glad it happened that way. It confirmed to me that I didn't feel anything at the sight of her, if not a little anger. There were no feelings left. I didn't get a chance to speak with her dad alone, which was okay. My ex seemed to linger around to maybe listen to us. I have a feeling that's why she stayed home. Anyway, it's for her to explain if she ever decides to come clean. Her dad did seem confused about how quickly our relationship disintegrated, and I just explained briefly that things happen for a reason and this was just something that couldn't work out. Her mom called me while I was there and expressed her sadness that she couldn't see me and wished me all the best and hoped that things would still work out. I just said I appreciated that and again reiterated how I was so thankful for their hospitality, but that I was ready to move forward with my life. She understood and we left it at that. I still feel anger whenever a memory of her comes to the surface. I don't know when that will subside, if ever, but I'm okay with it right now. About my cousin, more of my large family is beginning to learn about his part in this, and I'm feeling more relieved about that. But I'm aggravated to hear some of the things my cousin has been saying in his own defense, and that he had shown his dad his phone and there were no messages between them. It's easy to delete things, obviously, and he was talking to her in the past primarily through Snapchat. I'm not dumb, and I'm irritated that he thinks his dad is that naive. I do understand that he's dealing with his son here, but certain things my cousin has said just don't add up. I guess when the time comes for me to rectify this, I'll lay it all out, proof and all, because I do have proof of his lies. For now, I really don't care about fixing the relationship. It's dead and there's nothing my cousin can really say to change that at this point. Anyway, I'm not interested in resolving anything with him in the near future. My cousin is dead to me. I say this verbatim to anyone who asks about our relationship. I'm also bowing out of some family get-togethers to make it known that I don't want to be anywhere near him, and for the most part, my family is respecting those wishes, albeit sadly. I've been traveling lately and have met some incredible people, one of which I had a good 5-hour conversation with while roaming the streets of Manhattan and having brunch together. I realized that I had connected to someone, conversationally, more in 1 hour than I did with my ex over the past few years. It's shown me that there's so much more potential for me to actually be happy in the future, and that's something I can look forward to at least. That's not to say I don't still have some down moments. I still don't know what I want to do with my life, and I'm used to making plans for the future. So uncertainty does get to me some nights. I still see a therapist regularly, and I always feel relieved in verbalizing how I feel openly. I'm not sure if it even matters who listens. The process of it just feels good. Writing this feels good. I've blocked both of them for a while now actually. I deleted all photos with her and put away all the reminders and things she's given me into a box that was out of sight. The relationship would have been an unhealthy one, whether this happened or not, and she has a lot of maturing to do still. Anyway, I wanted to say thank you to everyone who commented, offered suggestions, opinions, and empathized with me. I understand that we are strangers, but it overwhelmed me and pointed me in the right direction that I thought I should have headed, and it seems to be going well now, so thank you. Well, OP, I'm gonna call it a positive and probably happy update for you, but I gotta say, I would have taken a slightly different route. I would have done happily all of the things that you did, take my stuff out, go to Manhattan, even have brunch. But when her parents asked me, instead of saying some things didn't work out, I would have used less words. I would have just said, she cheated on me, so I'm out. You don't need to do any more explanation. That's up to her, just like you said. But in any case, if this is working out for you, well then good for you. Here's wishing you all the best in the future, OP. Thank you for sharing and take care. Now let's finish this video with a mood booster post. This post is from the subreddit Malicious Compliant and it's by user HotWallaby6402. Management thought they didn't need me. Turns out they decided to try and sue me. I was reminded of this story, so I figured I'd share, but I'm going to be intentionally vague with the industry for privacy reasons. My post history won't help me here, lol. Now, for some context. This company wasn't new. They had been around for about a decade before I was hired, and as far as I know, they're still around, but not sure how they're doing now. When I started there, it was only about 60-ish employees, of which 15 to 20 were just hourly wage nobodies like me. I just had the luck of the draw that my team had 4 managers in my area. I was in a role that wasn't supposed to have any management elements, but turns out that not too long after I started, a few, 3 out of the 4, of the management team moved on and I slowly took over some of their responsibilities. After about 6 months, I was starting to feel overworked and I went job hunting. Having listed the responsibility I had with this position got me a management role somewhere else with substantially higher pay. I even got them to let me have a month before starting because I wanted to give a longer notice than 2 weeks to be nice. After I had given my 1-month notice, they were very dismissive of me leaving and acted like it wasn't a big deal. They thought they could spread out what I did among the other management teams. They were so certain that they could handle my job description of responsibilities that they even told me in writing they didn't need a transition period or training and didn't want an exit interview. They even offered me a week early leave with pay because they just thought it was handled and that I was useless. Before that week was out, I was getting calls, texts, and emails from higher-ups and HR trying to tell me that I'm contractually obligated to help them transition and that if I didn't, that they would sue me for breach of contract. Now, the best part of this is that when I was hired, I was simply an hour employee with no special contract besides the standard employee agreement for hourly workers. But since I had started doing management level work, everyone had assumed that I was made to sign the management contract. That contract that I had never signed had a clause in it that required management to work past their notice if the company requested it for handover training or anything the person was working on that couldn't be finished by anyone else. So within a week, they were frantically trying to get me to help them, and I had already started working with my new company half a week early, so I was ignoring their calls, texts, and emails because I was diving headfirst into my new role. Well, even after the threats, I thought they would have figured out that I didn't sign that contract. About another week later, I was served papers at my new office and it shocked me honestly. I read over the paperwork and they were suing me for breach of contract and it listed a law firm on it, obviously. So I decided to call them up and ask them if they had a signed contract and I was laughed off the phone by the law office clerk. I realized I shouldn't have called them and should have gotten my own lawyer, but just 3 days later I received a certified letter from the law firm with an official apology for being served and had official documentation showing they dropped the lawsuit. And apparently, they dropped that company as a client for unethical purposes. I never got another text, call, or email from anyone at that company or law firm. It felt nice that I shut down a lawsuit with a single question. Now, I don't know if the contract was legal, but it was mainly, as I was told, used for making sure loose ends were tied up whenever management left. That if they didn't give over codes, passwords, whatever, that the company could request them to come back and finish handing over everything. Also, I never heard what happened to the company. I also didn't want to reach out just in case the company made some kind of no contact rule about me after the whole debacle, so I didn't want to possibly get anyone in trouble. Anyway, that's it. Nicely done, OP. I have to say though, I'm wondering now what happened in that law office after you hung up and they started asking, so where's the signed contract and the conversation they must have had with your former employer. But anyways, thanks for sharing, OP. Take care. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out. So here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later. And also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.